Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The best Call of Duty game ever released in my opinion. The multiplayer was great, zombies was intense while playing with my friends, and the campaign was one to remember for many years. And I've beaten it several times on various difficulties throughout the years. So I thought to myself, let's test something very interesting. Can you get through the entirety of Black Ops 2 without ever firing but a single bullet? Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. So first, let's establish the rules. We are playing the game on regular difficulty, because I'm pretty sure that this challenge is just nowhere near possible and just way too hard in hard or veteran. Obviously, we are never firing a bullet, but also, since violence is pointless, we are going to make as least kills as possible. In Black Ops 2, you can customize your entire loadout per mission, so for every mission we will walk around with a sniper and a shotgun. Just in case an enemy does get in our way, it only takes one shot to clear them. I also disabled grenades and tacticals, cause we won't be needing them. The player will sometimes pick up unused grenades off the ground, but since we won't be throwing them anyway, it matters not. One thing that does come in handy is the access kit, which allows us to open certain areas and gain interesting benefits, which sometimes we are really gonna need. For the most part, we just run through every battlefield we encounter, but a lot of strategy and planning is going to be needed here. We often have to find a sneaky heal spot, as I like to call it, to get as much of our health back as possible. Your teammates cannot die in this game. Luckily, because we're really gonna need them. And lastly, I wanted to say that this video is going to have certain spoilers for the story. So if you ever want to play Black Ops 2 and you haven't already, you may want to click away from this video. But with that out of the way, let's just jump in the first mission because there is a lot to talk about. So in the elderly home, we found good old Frank Woods, and he says that Raul Menendez was here earlier. You know, the most dangerous terrorist since Osama bin Laden, according to Harper. Yeah, I know, I've never heard of him as well. Anyway, he takes us to the first mission, Pyrrhic Victory. So when we take control over Alex Mason, we are immediately ambushed by enemies with bats and knives. Obviously, we have zero interest in killing them, so we just keep on running away, which you are able to do quite easily. But then, right off the bat, we encounter a problem. Savimbi wants us to clear a group of enemies who are using anti-aircraft guns, so Hudson can sweep the area with a chopper. I've tried a lot of things, but you have to kill them. There's just no way going around. The mission just won't continue while those guys are alive. So, you would say that we've already failed the mission, but actually, no, I've come up with a plan. On the right side there's actually an access area, which gives us mortars. We can throw these and kill the enemies, but never fire a single shot. So from now on, I'm only gonna take out an enemy when I absolutely must kill him in order to progress. But the challenge still stands. We are still finding out if we can get through the entirety of the game without firing a single bullet. So, in order to progress, you have to kill 4 enemies with flag guns. Yeah, I know, but 4 enemies is okay, I guess. Then Hudson comes in with the chopper, and the idea is to kill everyone in 2 sweeps. But Hudson, I have no interest in firing your guns. So we just do nothing. And Mason thanks us.
Nice work, Hudson!
The game automatically disables the tanks, thinking that you would have done this already, and then you can just continue. But then Hudson says that he can't get over again till we deal with those MG trucks, which means we have to make 2 more kills. You have to make sure that there are no random enemies nearby the gunners that you accidentally take out as well. Then Hudson comes for another attack run. Again, we just do nothing, and our teammates are just still very happy with us. And that actually concludes the first part. A rough start actually, because we had to make 6 kills in the progress. Didn't shoot a bullet, but 6 kills. Then we head out to save Frank Woods, who is on a transport boat, and this part... Ugh. This part just straight up sucks. It's not hard, it just sucks. You board the boat and it's full of enemies. But since we cannot fire a bullet, yeah, that's gonna be an issue. But there is one option. Hudson, your teammate, who is just retarded in this scene, keeps on moving from the front to the back. He has absolutely no idea what he's doing. I've already said that teammates cannot die, so we just let Hudson clear the ship. Solid plan, right? Well, wrong. Because Hudson is just garbage, who makes a kill like every 2.5 minutes or so. Oh my god, this just takes forever. Several times I just got so bored that I started walking around the ship to actually do something. But then I got killed, which restarted the wait all over. And it's not just once, it happened 2 or 3 times. And I know that's my bad, this is just awful. You cannot do anything, you have to just wait till Hudson clears the entire ship. So I just decided to take a moment to enjoy nature. But you know, what if I told you that it gets even worse? Yeah. Once the enemies have been cleared of the ship, hostile boats make even more enemies board the ship. Which makes this part even longer, since Hudson only kills someone every now and then. But finally, the enemies have been cleared and there are just 2 boats left. I got a little desperate to think that I had to use an RPG. But luckily, just in time, I remembered that I still had the mortars from before. So we throw the mortars on the boats, unfortunately killing 2 enemies in the process, and we can continue. Okay, so I'm telling you, this mission is going quite badly. But to top it all off, we are about to run into a wall. See, we rescue Woods from the container, but then this fucking chopper attacks us. I tried waiting, but there's just no way. You cannot let it pass or whatever, and Hudson is protecting Woods, so he won't be helping you. And this absolutely sucks, because now we are forced to kill this chopper with the Valkyrie rockets. So, the answer to the question, can you beat Black Ops 2 without ever firing a single bullet, is unfortunately no. I know it's a rocket and it's technically not a bullet, but come on, this counts as a loss. And this really irritated me because I wanted to continue. So what I decided to do was to find out what the least amount of bullets is that you have to shoot in order to beat Black Ops 2. I got my Valkyrie rockets and with pain in my heart, I fired a shot. Only to find out that this fucker won't die in one hit. It takes 2 rockets to take him down. Oh my god, this is frustrating. But okay, we'll get through this part, the ship falls over and we enter the jungle. 2 rockets, damn. In this access area we find bear traps. And this is great because now we can slow enemies down quite a bit without killing them. We enter a radio hut and it's right here. The worst scenario beyond my dreams comes true. The player finds Raul Menendez and tries to shoot him when we are not in control. I literally cannot do anything to stop this, since it's sort of a cutscene, and that brings our total shot count to 3. Luckily, Menendez survives this shot, so we do not actually kill anyone. We run away from the militia chasing us, but it's in vain. It maybe takes a few tries, but the bear traps are really handy here. It really slows down the enemies. They do catch up, but after a few tries you will be victorious and you will have finally completed the first mission. The mission Solarium is just nothing special actually. There are a lot of open areas with roaming enemies, but it's okay. They might seem like a lot, but it's right here when I found the golden ticket for this playthrough. Your teammates make kills every now and then, but you can speed this up quite substantially. See, your teammates will try to follow you wherever you go. So when you manage to just run past many enemies, your teammates will clear those enemies in no time in order to catch up to you. And this is great because for most of the part we can just get through every part with a little bit of luck and planning. It still is gonna take you a few tries, but hey, we have committed at this point. At one point I used the access kit, but then I remembered it gives you control over a turret. But since we have no interest in hundreds of bullets flying, we just leave it without touching. What does come in handy, and we will be using this method every now and then during this run, is to lure an enemy out of his cover. When you get close enough, the enemy will try to punch you with his gun. That means we do take a hit, but the enemy is exposed enough for your teammates to hopefully shoot him. This actually works in some occasions. I would sometimes die here to a turret or a cluster of enemies, but once you reach the bunker and your teammates meet up, we wait a little while till they make the final kill, and then we can just enter the bunker. Now here it gets interesting. There's this section. The game gives you a shield. And this is excellent because we can move behind enemy lines so their backs are exposed to our teammates. One time I died of weird gas that roams around the room when someone decides to shoot the cans in the middle, but it was alright. This part is just gonna take very long, because there are a lot of enemies who also like to hide. But with enough patience you'll get through. And I had decided not to use the second access kit, which gives you the AGR, because that would be too easy. And that's it, not a single bullet fired, and we've killed no one. Then we're moving on to the third mission, and this is very interesting to say at least. At first I was dreading this mission because it takes place in a war in Afghanistan. You know, the kinds of war where they shoot bullets. Which is exactly what we don't want. So we start off easily. We take the katana and ride with Zhao to the cave. We plan a mission, but then our base gets attacked and we need to disable the path to the valley. We ride to the valley entrance, ignoring every enemy along the way, and we make it to this place. So there are a lot of enemies inside that you have to avoid. It's quite easy to reach the other side, and this is where the game is doing something weird. See, there are 2 BTR tanks roaming this level. You need to take them both out in order to progress through the game. The game pinpoints a launcher to use on these BTRs. But since we will not shoot, that's it, right? Well, actually no. See, the game demands that you pick up the launcher, but it does not demand you that you actually fire it. So, what we do is we sneak up on these enemies, who will just most likely not even notice you until you have picked up the launcher, so that's okay. Once we've picked up the launcher, we just put it down again. Now we have tricked the game into thinking that we are walking around with a launcher, which we have just no interest in doing. Instead, we have to take these BTRs out in another way. I try to knife them, but it just does little to zero damage. Plus the fact that they have machine guns on top. It's just not a good strategy. But in the cave earlier, we found mortars again. Well, this is great because with mortars we can shut down the BTRs without killing anyone. And this works, but you have to pick the right time and the right spot for the mortar to land. You absolutely may not kill anyone else. I had this one run where I accidentally killed someone from the mortar blast, which scared me. Of course, this was a reset and this part is totally doable without killing anyone, well, aside from the 2 tank operators of course. Hudson then tells us to come back to base ASAP and we are about to see 2 BTRs approaching the base. We use the same strategy to blow up the tanks, but unfortunately there are also 2 choppers attacking our base. Which means 2 rockets are necessary to progress. Sad, I know, but there's just no other way. We fire the rockets with a tear on our face, and luckily these choppers do go down in one hit. Then we move on, and we have to secure an ammo cache for some reason, and Zhao yells that this valley is impassable by horse.
The path is impassable by horse! Dismount! We will proceed on foot!
Like, why? Okay. My horse is invincible, we drove through here in the beginning, but anyway, okay. We take control over the ammo cache by letting Zhao and Woods kill all the enemies and just move back to base. Then, oh no, giant tanks. I hope this goes well. Mason yells to our teammates that we need to give them one last display of courage. But, you know, it's suicide. Fortunately, we are the protagonist and just won't die. We push to a horse from us and then Woods helps us onto the tank and damn. What's that? It's fucking Kravchenko! We fight for a bit and end up using the same mortar strategy as before. We capture Kravchenko and we interrogate him. Mason keeps hearing Reznov say, "Must die." And then, "No, no, no, no! No! Don't shoot, don't shoot! Don't shoot!" Ooh, resist. Oh man, it was close. Whew. Luckily we moved. No! And, you know, I'm bad. I didn't resist enough and I accidentally killed him. And it scared me very much because this is the first bullet that I had fired out of a regular gun in this run. So in panic I reset and got to do it again, luckily, because we just don't want to shoot this bullet. This time I resisted even harder and let Woods take out Kravchenko. Phew, still not a single actual bullet dropped. And that's the end of the third mission already. Then we drop into FOB Spectre, which I personally like very much. It's this strategic battle planning simulation from JSOC to defend the weapons facility. You can manually control the claw, a turret or even soldiers, but we won't do that. I've tried this mission completely from positioning my troops from the sky. I came really close, but unfortunately I lost due to a bad placed claw. I decided to skip this mission since it's optional. Black Ops 2 has branching storylines and numerous things that you do have an impact on the story or how it's gonna end. You could skip all the JSOC missions, but the ending of the story will be a lot worse. That's okay by us, because we do not have to fire extra bullets now. So, we move on to Time and Fate. This mission is planned as an attack on Raul Menendez. But the first part of the mission, we actually take control of Menendez himself. He kills someone, unfortunately. I know. But luckily it's melee, so not from a gun. We get captured and punch Noriega unconscious. Later in the story, he will be alive, so we have not made a kill here. I cannot overstate that, we did not make a kill here. Menendez is furious and panics at the same time. You get increased movement speed and you can take many shots. And that's great because extra health and the ability to rush past enemies is great for us. We get the option to kill someone with an axe, but we just run past it. The funny part is that the game will sometimes start slow motion to emphasize how brute the kills are, but the slow-mo also works when running past the enemies. This results in dumb situations where just nothing happens, but with an intense slow-mo effect. But overall, this part is just really easy. And then the fun begins. We redo the entire thing, but from Mason's perspective. And this part is not fun at all. It just isn't. There are a lot of houses with enemies, civilians, etc. The beginning is doable. It took me a few tries to reach the end, but you'll manage. What is really obnoxious is this corridor. Man, I cannot overstate how frustrating this corridor is. You need to reach the house at the end, but in our way are approximately 5 snipers, like 12 regular gunners, and a turret. This would be a lot easier if we had enough space to move in, but we just don't. This part took me at least 30 tries. Oh my god, this is just awful. I would try running, didn't work. I would try the sneaky heal strategy, didn't work as well. I tried running and hiding, but didn't work as well. I tried waiting till my teammates made all the kills, but that didn't work because the snipers are just too far away for my teammates to kill them. After 30 or 35 tries, eventually, I got insane luck. I managed to get into the house with my teammates right behind me. And I made it. Or so I thought. See, there's this door, which does not open until Woods opens it. I have to make sure that Woods opens it, but there is only one enemy left, and that's the turret guy. My teammates are right in his vision, but he does not kill them. Weird AI, I know. So the only time I was able to get past this section, the turret survived. I will even go as far as to say that you cannot get through this without killing the gunner. With the right planning, we can kill him with a knife, but that's beside the point. I've tried so hard with victory in our grasp only to fail on one enemy who you have to kill. But once you do, your teammates start moving immediately and open the door. We move uphill to the church, or whatever it is, and come across these campers. There are 3 of them on the balcony and 1 in each tower. Because of the height difference, they will be too far for your teammates to hit them effectively. So, it's too bad, but we are killing again. This time with the mortars we found. I found that when you run on these bushes on the far right side and jump while you throw the mortar, you are able to take down all 3 enemies on the balcony and 1 in the right tower. When you do that, for some reason, your teammates will then kill the left one. They couldn't do that before, which is very weird, but okay, I'll gladly take it. And that brings us to the last part of this mission, which is also very difficult. You'll explore a basement where a drug cartel holds place or something. Enemies everywhere. I tried this part like 15 to 20 times and in the end I found the golden ticket. The extra mini room where the CIA files lie. When you make it here, you can easily regain your health and your teammates will catch up to you. You have to wait for quite a while until they've killed everyone, but then it works and you could just continue. Then comes the mission Fallen Angel. And I did look forward to this mission because it's mostly stealth, or so I thought. So there were a lot of sections that I completely forgotten about, which makes this a very hard mission. In the beginning you have to wait quite a while, but then there are many campers who have just height advantages over you in the street. But in 2 or 3 times it's doable. Then we get to the stealth part, which is perfect for this run of course. One time I died because I accidentally stepped into the spotlight. Okay then. But then we get here. And Harper says this.
The guy on the right. Other one's mine.
And this scared me because I did not want to kill them. Think about the bullet, man. Come on. I'm doing this without bullets. So I looked around to see if there was another way, and there is. You just do nothing. Harper kills both enemies for us. Great! Then he will snarl at you, say,
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
but you know, we just refuse to get involved into this. We contact Admiral Briggs and we try to make a recording of Menendez, but before that, Harper says that he will kill the left guard if you kill the right one. On your go. Fuck. I've tried everything, there's just no way around. Harper will never go first, and whatever you do, the chopper will see you just straight up shred you. So, looks like we have to make another kill. Yep. We then make a recording of Menendez and holy shit. What the actual fuck is that file size? 316 terabytes? What format are you using? Jesus Christ, the picture is not even sharp. Something is definitely wrong with your settings, man. Then we get to here. And Harper says that there are 2 guys in our way. I've tried a few things and I have to say that these enemies are just retarded. They won't see you most of the time, and when they do, they just become kill monsters. And the choppers will see you as well and they will start to fire a lot of bullets into you. It's very bad AI, but after 5 or 6 tries, I set myself to make another kill. There's just no way going around. But apparently, you only knock them unconscious. That means no bullets and no kill. We move on, laugh at the pathetic attempt of a jump scare, and get to this part. Now this is funny. See, the streets have I don't know how many enemies. and you cannot go outside. So the game wants you to take control over Brutus and Maximus to take out the most hostiles. But since they fire with a minigun, that's gonna be an issue. What I found, and I don't know how or why, but when you just walk through the incoming fire and do nothing, it will just work. The enemies will just clear up every now and then. This is really weird because all I'm doing is taking fire, that's it. And after a little while, Salazar shows up and clears the rest of the streets. So this was surprisingly easy. But not for long, because we've reached this car section. And this is a test of your reaction speed. Are you able to anticipate, take the right choices? Everything is going so fast, and obviously we do not want to overrun an enemy or make a hostile car explode. With patience, very precise driving and good control of your car, you are just, and I mean just, able to do this without killing everyone. Harper takes control over the turret that is attached to your car, so he will make kills, but not you. It does get challenging at points. So one time I filled this section where there are 2 cars blocking the road. I reset and found out that there is an extra route that leads to the left. And luckily this path exists, because otherwise I'm very certain that you cannot get by without killing everyone in one car. I also failed one time when I chose this path, but that is because there's one enemy that runs very slow. I tried to stay behind him, but he still died from whatever. I'm not sure it was my fault, but I still reset anyway just to make sure. And it turned out not to be an issue at all, because the left route is much easier. So right now we have come a very long way. We have only fired a single bullet in a cutscene and a few rockets were necessary to get to this point. But then we enter the mission Karma. And this is an interesting one. It's right here that the difficulty of this run is increased very much. Let's go over everything. We first get to the park, city, whatever, move down with the elevator, let Salazar kill the guards, and we take control over Ziggy. Now, to get through, you have to fire your zapper. Think about that for a while. Fire your zapper. It's not a bullet or whatever, but does this count as firing? Let me know in the comments if you think this was a shot. In that case, you need 2 to make it through the shaft. But I decided not to count it, since it doesn't look like a bullet, rocket or whatever. It doesn't even come close. Unfortunately, we have to use the zap to kill this guard. We use a scan of his eye to enter this room, and this is where Salazar just decides to become practically useless. Whatever you do, he will stay in the same piece of cover for the whole time. Which sucks, because he cannot kill all the enemies. I've tried many things, but every time the same 3 enemies would survive. It took me almost 20 minutes, but then, for some reason, the enemies then decided to come out of their cover, and Salazar was able to easily take them down. I don't know why they did that all of a sudden. They had never done that before. We move on, and the player automatically knifes an enemy. Why? And this part right here is what I consider to be in the top 3 most difficult sections of the game. Man, this took me at least an hour. At least. Just the upcoming 2 rooms. This section is so difficult when you are not firing a single shot that it's almost unfair. And let's take a look why. There are many enemies in the first room, but Salazar can take out most of them. It just takes a lot of time. Running to let your teammates catch up to you is not an option, because you will die no question. So every time you do this, you have to wait a while after respawning so Salazar can clean the room again. Or at least for a little bit. Sometimes he will miss an enemy that decides to sprint towards you. And you cannot outrun him and use the sneaky heal tactic. No, when an enemy does this, it's over, it's just done. There's no way you will survive this without shooting. And keep in mind that you have to redo the entire thing if you die. But when luck is in your favor and you manage to make it to the corridor, 2 more enemies waltz right in. So, in order to progress, you have to go back again and let Salazar kill them as well. And once he does, you can finally make an attack run for the sneaky heal tactic. Run through the corridor and lie down in this office to the right. With the perfect angle, you should be able to heal back to full health, but keep in mind that enemies will sometimes change their location. And if this happens and you are unlucky, it's over. It's just done. They shoot you and it's over, you have to restart again. But when you do make it here, Salazar will likely catch up, which makes your heal office safe. But be aware, but for some reason, in my many tries, Salazar was never once able to kill this enemy in the first room. And as you can see here, he has a direct vision in the corridor. So, when you think you are safe from the corridor, the only remaining enemy from the first room is going to take you out and you have to restart again. Man, this part! But it's not over yet. There's also a second room. So if you manage to make it here, and I say if, there are 4 more enemies behind cover here. Which does not sound so bad on paper, but sometimes I would make it to this room and Salazar just decides to miss all of his shots. And my only hope was to make a run for it. There was this one time where I was able to make it to the elevator, but then you have to wait until Salazar joins you, and since he will likely miss shots, this isn't just going to work. Eventually, and I mean eventually, I got to this part and Salazar decided to hit his shots, and we can finally continue. Oh my god, just 2 random rooms took me so long. We then go into Club Solar. We warn Chloe that there's gonna be a terrorist attack and get into this mass shooting. And I thought to myself, let's see what happens when I do nothing. But that didn't seem to work. In fact, I failed this 8 times just to make sure that I did not get unlucky. I did notice that the damage output of these soldiers is very inconsistent, but still way too high to make it to the end. Then I thought to myself, there's just no way going around, we have to shoot. And for some reason, I missed. I failed big time, I know, but this is where I actually learned what the golden ticket here is. You see, firing to get through is necessary, but we want to make sure we fire the least amount of shots and kill as few enemies as possible. So I shot a bullet and actually missed. This may seem like a big deal, but it's actually perfect. Now I don't know why, but when you fire, if you miss or not, you almost take no damage. Weird, right? And this is perfect for us because we have to shoot, but we do not actually have to kill anyone. There are 4 slow-mo sections and I tried to skip one occasionally to save a few bullets, but then you would just instantly die, so that was no option. So unfortunately, we have to fire 4 bullets to get through here, but also never kill anyone, which is great. The last part of this mission is also a bit interesting. You'll get through this mall fairly easy, but it's the ending that matters. If you are in time, you can shoot the Falco from afar, which will have great impact on the story. But since we have no interest in killing him, we give him plenty of time to let him escape. Not only do we not have to fire, but there's also 1 enemy fewer. Only 2 run at you, and 2 enemies is easy, right? Well, not these enemies. They kept on coming in my back and I wasn't able to outrun them. So in this one run I decided to observe them first, and then I found out that these enemies can run ungodly fast. My god, they can easily run at 300% movement speed, which is just unfair, but okay. I tricked them by lying down in cover and then knifing them. That would clear my path to the exit, but then I thought maybe it's doable whilst only killing 1 of them. So I killed myself and I tried again. I killed just 1 and ran. Straight up ran. And I have to say it was close, but only 1 enemy with god powers is actually doable and you could reach the end with him being alive. Whew, okay, with that all of the way, it's time for a step back in the mission Suffer With Me. The beginning part was quite okay. We got a little bit of luck and I was able to beat this first try. Then Mason yells, "Woods! Hit it with an RPG!"
What? Hit it with an RPG!
And I'm like, do I look like someone who would fire a gun? Then we enter Noriega's hostile chamber. We knock out this enemy, which I think is not dead. Then we take Noriega. In this alley, Mason won't do anything and it's up to you to take care of these 3 enemies. Whatever you try, you will not be successful, and only one of them has a gun, so I hope that he would accidentally take out his teammates. But unfortunately, this is impossible. You have to knife 3 enemies to progress. The access kit makes this level actually a joke, because we found decoy grenades earlier. We can throw these and make the enemies look the other way. Plus we get plus 5% movement speed while holding these. We then reach the roof in order to take out Nexus target. And this part had me worried for some time already. You have to take out Nexus target with a sniper shot, which is the worst case scenario. I would be fine with just knifing him, but shooting is something else. There is just no way around it. Then I thought to myself, how you shoot this target greatly impacts the ending of the story. If you shoot the target in the leg, he will survive and you would have not killed anyone. If you shoot him in the head, he is dead and we do not want that. So naturally, I chose to aim at the leg. Only to find out that you actually need 2 bullets in the leg to kill him. And that's bad because that means an extra bullet is necessary. So I have to choose between 1 shot and a kill, or 2 shots and no kill. But since we are doing this with the least amount of shots, we killed Nexus target. After I missed 1 time, what the fuck, I know. Then I spawned in again, but without a gun, and I was able to shoot. Weird glitch. The mission Achillesville is fairly easy. You just get the optical camo suit and just run straight through everything.
Buddy!
No. There's no blood at all. Then he gives us the option to shoot Harper or shoot Menendez. But this choice is actually really easy. We want to keep Harper alive for various reasons. If we kill him, we shoot a bullet. Whereas if we try to kill Menendez, we will fail and not fire a bullet. Obviously, we try to shoot Menendez then. This means Pyrrhic dies, but Harper is still alive. And I'm very certain that this is necessary to end the game with the least amount of bullets as possible, since Harper will be alive through the rest of the story to help you and have your back. We then take control of a flying turret, don't kill anyone, and when we reach our goal, the enemies just despawn, which is funny. Then there's this corridor scene, which is a bit difficult, but that was only after I realized that my optical camouflage was disabled. In the mission Odysseus, Menendez was captured and attacks our flagship. The beginning part is again a very big corridor, which means fairly hard, but after a few tries you should be successful. The rest of this mission is in parts very hard or very easy. There's this one point where the game suggests that you help your faction by providing overwatch, but we are not interested in that at all. Running past the enemies is fairly easy in this part, with the exception of one room and the landing deck later in the level. This room has a lot of enemies and 2 turrets who fire at you. And it is in your best interest to take them off guard and just start running. You have to do this perfectly, but it's not so hard, and after a few tries it's just doable. You have to take control of the computer as fast as possible, because then the enemies will just straight up die out of nothing. We then take control over Menendez and we are given the option to kill or disable Briggs. But both options require a shot to be made. But if we wait long enough, Briggs will make a really sad attempt to kill you, but Salazar knocks him down, saving us another bullet. Lastly, for this mission, there is the landing deck section, and this is actually quite difficult due to the fact that we've skipped the JSOC missions. JSOC can never make an alliance with certain factions and there are more enemies and less teammates, okay, but it's doable. One time I tried to be smart by running around the debris, but an invisible wall made fast work of me. The strategy here is just to run and plan your sneaky heal spot, and you should be victorious. Now we are about to reach the end of the game. We've come very far. We had to fire a few shots in order to make it to this part, and there are only 2 missions left. And you have sit here for so long and watched me do this. I just wanted to say thank you for that. It's awesome. Now, we are about to run into a wall again. And this mission, Cordis D, is tragic for this run. Let's get through it. So, right out of the gate, we crash and we have to enter this turret. The game wants you to gun down several drones roaming the sky. And unfortunately, you have to do that. You cannot wait, because then you will just die. You also cannot exit the turret, which leaves us in a terrible spot. I have tried this over and over and over to get the best possible outcome. When you press your shooting button once, the turret will fire as much rockets as you have currently locked onto drones. There's just no way I'm getting through this with only a few rockets. The least amount I was able to find in my test was 30 rockets. 30. That's terrible. That brings both of our counters up significantly. 30 rockets, and be aware, I've been at this for some time, and this was the best scenario out of all of them. It just wouldn't work. Then Harper finally yells, "Get out of there!" Gladly. 30 rockets, man. So then we have to continue, and the rest of this mission is in between difficult and chaotic. We have to escort the President of the United States. You get the option to snipe or go down, and obviously we go down. And these streets are awful. There are just enemies everywhere. You have to protect the President, but we have no interest in that because that means we have to fire our gun or kill anyone. Harper will sometimes yell, "Section, clear those snipers!" But as it turns out, after a while they just despawn or die, so you do not actually have to kill them. Then something weird happens. I reach a car, but my teammates just would not enter it. That meant I have to wait for approximately 10 minutes for them to finally enter. Weird, but I can finally take control of the car, and as you know by now, we have to be extra careful. So we drive cautiously and make it to the end. We then get hit by a car, wake up, and yet another problem occurs. Oh, this mission, man! So, lots of enemies, not a problem. We can just skip most of them by just running through whatever this building is. But the problem are those 2 claws. It's an actual objective to take them out. So running past them won't work. As a matter of fact, that won't work at all. Because what I found is that when you reach this place and the claws are still alive, you just die. Straight up die by doing nothing. This is incredibly unfair since we do not have access to mortars at this time around. And your teammates? Oh no, they won't do anything. Maybe make a kill or 2 on random enemies, but that's it. It is really your objective to kill these claws, which means we have to take the RPGs and fire rockets to take it out. But keep in mind, the armor is really tough, so it is going to take you 3 rockets to take down the first claw. Make sure not to kill an extra enemy in the process, but once you kill the first one, your team can move up to the second and get just a little bit of damage in, and it takes only 2 rockets to take out the second claw. I was not able to get the number any lower than that. So it takes a total of 5 RPG rockets to get through this part where you otherwise could just easily run past. Then there's another street with enemies, but this is just funny. The hard part is this turret, but he is also a joke. Because the turret is mounted on a car, his spinning abilities are limited. That means that you can just run up to him. You'll take a lot of damage, but you should be able to make it. Lie down right behind the car and get the sneaky heal strategy to work. Your teammates will then rush to help you and all work is done. Then more enemies approach, but this problem quickly resolves itself because a giant building comes down cleaning them up. For the last part, we have to fly this jet and we have to escort the president. You have to shoot the choppers, which are 6, otherwise the president will not survive. There are also cars who will shoot at the president, but she will survive the damage that the cars are able to do. Then you fly up to the sky with a few teammates to kill a few drones. And there are a lot, but I found that you should be able to get through this part by firing only 3 rockets per attack run. And there are 2 attack runs. That means another 6 rockets are necessary to progress. But luckily, that's the end of this godforsaken level. Damn, this was bad, really bad. And that brings us to the last mission, Judgment Day. And this mission is quite fun actually. The streets are quite challenging, but not so challenging that it becomes impossible. I wouldn't recommend taking the right side because the turret is waiting there and has just opened fire on you. But I wouldn't recommend the left side either because of those campers. Instead, a viable strategy is to take the middle. You run up and once you come into the vision of the turret, you just lie down and crawl forward. You are going to get hit by RPG rockets from the other side, but that's okay since you heal faster than they can reload. Once you get further, your teammates will too. They will make a few kills and then you can run to the other side. And here, again, run past several enemies and you should be fine. But then, this section. And I would consider this section to be the final boss of this run. This took me many attempts and easily just as long as those 2 rooms in the level Karma. I've equipped a pistol to get the extra movement speed because inside there are a lot of enemies. And I mean a lot. In the entrance, in the hallway, in the middle area, on the first floor, and sometimes you get an unlucky shot from outside. I tried multiple routes but they all didn't seem to work. After many tries, I made it to the door that Harper must open to reach the end. But there is no cover there, and there are 3 or 4 campers waiting for you, which is terrible because we have to wait until Harper opens the door and kills those enemies. I have tried to use this little room for the sneaky heal tactic, but there are always 1, 2 or 3 enemies waiting for you, depending on what the AI does. So that doesn't work. Running straight to the door also won't work, and in the middle is just a cluster of enemies which is just out of the question. So that leaves me with very little options. Every time you get hit, it breaks your sprint, so we are not very mobile while doing this. I tried this over and over. I even got so desperate that I asked my roommate to plan this section with me in the most strategic way possible. So we tried. Again and again, but there was just no way. I knew I had to kill someone, not to fire a bullet, but knife someone. It's just impossible without this. You need to be in this building for your teammates to follow you, and you would think, is 1 kill really gonna make that much difference? Well, yes it does. If you get lucky with the AI, you will get a run where there's only 1 enemy in this room. What if we would knife him? That makes this part actually very doable. You can heal almost unlimited in your new heal fortress, and the enemies that will shoot at you will miss most of the time or focus on your teammates. So now you've set up, you just wait for your team and you've done it. It's unfortunately that you have to take out this enemy, but there's just no other way. When you do get lucky, there's actually 1 enemy in the room. He will start following you and shoot or punch you. You simply cannot get your health back while this guy is alive, so you have to take him out. I also have to say that the reason that this part is doable is only because Harper is alive. I'm not entirely sure about that, but he helps a lot in this mission. If we would have killed him in the mission Achillesville, then that could have been problematic in this section. The rest is actually very doable. You must not get trapped in a corner, that's just an automatic reset. But overall you will get through because you have the experience by now. So then we slide under this door, the room collapses and we slide down to Menendez. But oh god, the Falco is still alive. That means it is gonna cost us an extra bullet to defeat him. I tried to do nothing, but the enemy and the Falco just kill you, so that won't work. I also tried firing at one of the two. That also didn't work since the other one has just 3 shots at you. You have to kill them and hit your shot. I missed 2 times, making me feel very bad. So in the end, I have 1 shot for this enemy, 1 shot for the Falco. And that's it. Every shot in the game. We knife Menendez in the leg, put a gun to his head and obviously decide not to kill him. And that's it. Black Ops 2 with the least amount of bullets possible. This run was very fun to do. You have to be very creative with the few options you have. I highly suggest you ever do a run like this in the future. It leads to very funny situations, but also very unexpected hard rooms that you do not see coming. In the end, we needed to fire our gun 59 times, which is just way too much in my opinion. Most of the times it were rockets that needed to be fired, and also 47 of the 59 shots fired were in the mission Quartus D. So if we would take that mission out, we only needed 12 shots in order to beat the entire game, which is a lot more like the number I had in mind. This was a very obscure video game run, so until next time maybe, I'd say take care.